Guys, today's goal is 5,000 likes. Make sure to like the video and comment Red Apple in the comment section to support the channel. So let's start the episode. This is the story of Seojun, the ultimate shut-in loser. One day, the world suddenly came to an end. The whole world collapsed. All the buildings started getting destroyed. People started dying one by one. Then the pandemic struck. In the beginning, everyone was shocked. The whole stock market crashed. The entire world was in panic. News spread like wildfire. The world is going to end. Wars broke out. Countries started fighting each other. The economy fell apart. Food shortages plagued the planet, and because of this scarcity, global conflict erupted. Even a small packet of noodles was sold for millions of wons. People took to the streets. They begged. They protested. It was a disaster of unimaginable proportions. But it wasn't humanity's doing. Suddenly, one day, fantasy monsters appeared on Earth. And that was the end of humanity. Just like a typical novel, as soon as the monsters appeared, humans began awakening special abilities. They became metahumans, and system notifications started popping up, granting them tools to fight these creatures. Up to this point, it was the classic setup. But here's the twist. Despite their newfound powers, the creatures that appeared were nightmares. Hell difficulty. The so-called meta-human abilities were useless. The monsters slaughtered humans like they were nothing. In just 3 days, the Earth was almost completely destroyed. Then the scene shifts and the real story begins. The camera pans to a tall, untouched building amidst a sea of ruins. All the surrounding structures are destroyed. Everything is in ruins except for this one building. Not a single scratch mars it. Inside this building lives our main character, Seojun. The scene cuts to Seojun lounging in his messy room, casually eating chips from a packet. His appearance is shabby. He looks a little weak, dressed in an old stained white t-shirt. Seojun munches on chips, sipping a nearly empty cold drink. He sighs and narrates, "The world is almost destroyed, but here I am," chilling like nothing happened. We see the room in detail. There are piles of empty ramen packets, crumpled tissues, and trash bags stacked in the corners, likely filled with food waste. The place is chaotic. Seojun continues with a hint of sadness. "In this 100 square meter apartment, I'm alone. My mom, dad, grandpa, and grandma, they're all outside." Seojun reveals his backstory. His father bought this apartment, spending 200 million won borrowed from the bank and another 200 million won from his life savings. The plan was for someone to live here for 2 years to get the tax benefits of owning property in this luxury building. That's why Seojun, despite not being wealthy, ended up here. But now, with the sudden apocalypse, Seojun is trapped in this building alone. But does Seojun care? Not at all. Seojun is the ultimate shut-in. He prefers to stay home. However, his biggest complaint, no internet. Seojun exclaims, "This is hell!" The apocalypse outside is bad enough, but for Seojun, no internet is an even bigger nightmare. Staring at his phone with a depressed look, Seojun thinks, "What do I even do now? No internet? How am I supposed to survive this?" Suddenly, Seojun freezes. He hears a loud scream from outside. He jumps, startled. Slowly, he creeps to the window, peeking through. A gigantic creature with terrifying wings is flying straight toward his apartment. Seojun's eyes widen in shock as he stares at the approaching monster. In seconds, the enormous beast slams into the window, stopping just outside. That creature, it was hideous. It had a humongous, disgusting, slimy, tentacle-like mouth. When it opened its mouth, 3 more mouths emerged, each lined with rows of sharp, glinting teeth. The sight was beyond disgusting. Seojun thought the creature was about to devour him. With a sickening thud, the monster's body slammed into the window. Seojun shrieked and stumbled backward, falling hard onto the floor. His heart raced. He was terrified. But then, something strange happened. The monster couldn't enter. It tried again and again to break through the invisible barrier of the apartment. Seojun slowly opened his eyes, his breathing still heavy with fear. A system notification popped up before him. "A subject not permitted to enter has attempted to breach the room. Entry has been prevented by the system." Seojun stared at the notification, his fear gradually turning into confusion. What was this system? Why couldn't the monster enter? Slowly, realization dawned on Seojun. Whatever this system was, it was protecting him. After that, a blue-colored barrier formed in front of Seojun's window. Seojun tried to open the door to his house but found it completely stuck. Frustrated, he kicked the door in anger. After half an hour of struggling, the door still wouldn't budge. Exhausted, Seojun slowly approached his window and stared out, his face filled with frustration. He narrated that this was the third day of the apocalypse, and while this damned ability had kept him safe, it had also trapped him completely in his house. The dark truth about Seojun's ability began to sink in. Sitting in the darkness of his room, Seojun observed the world outside falling apart. 3 days into the apocalypse, there was no light in his room. He was completely engulfed in darkness. His food supply was running dangerously low, and within a day or two, he would have nothing left. The realization that all the doors in his house were locked only added to Seojun's misery. He was forced to use plastic bags for his basic needs. The ultimate shut-in-house ability, while protecting him from external threats, had effectively trapped him inside his own home. Seojun shouted in frustration, "Because of this weird-ass ability, I'm stuck in here. I can't do anything. Maybe I'll starve to death in this house alone." Holding his head in his hands, Seojun muttered that while he was safe, the real problem was food. His supplies were almost gone. The power to his fridge had been cut, and his remaining food was starting to spoil. All he had left were a few packets of ramen. Desperation gripped Seojun as he chewed on his fingers, completely lost on what to do next. Then, out of nowhere, the system notified that Seojun had hunted a level 23 Calican. He had gained a great amount of experience points, and his skills had leveled up. Seojun sat in complete shock. His eyes widened as he thought, "How did I hunt something? I haven't even left this room." He stared at the system notification, confused and trying to make sense of what had just happened. Then something clicked. Seojun sprang to his feet, rushed to the balcony, and looked down. His eyes widened in shock. The lifeless body of the huge, weird creature that had crashed into his window earlier lay on the ground. Its massive body was surrounded by armed goblins. Seojun thought, did I somehow hunt that thing just because it crashed into my window? As Seojun pieced things together, the system notified that Seojun had obtained a new skill. A nearby loot had met the requirement, and the system was calculating the loot. Before Seojun could fully process this, the goblins below began acting strangely. They became aggressive, letting out loud, piercing screams toward the sky. Seojun stared down in complete confusion, unable to understand what was happening. All of a sudden, the behavior of all the goblins changes. On one hand, the goblins are still screaming in a weird way. Many goblins are clutching their heads in agony, while others are ferociously tearing apart the huge flying beast with their nails. Then, the system notifies Seojun that the loot calculation is complete. Seojun has gained 2.2 million won, an amount equivalent to 1,500 USD. The system confirms that 2.2 million won has been deposited into Seojun's ultimate shut-in wallet. Seojun is stunned to see such a large amount of money at once, but his surprise doesn't end there. Suddenly, the lights in Seojun's room turn on. Seojun realizes that not just the lights, but all the fans and electricity in his house are now working. The system notifies Seojun once again. His ultimate shut-in system has been upgraded, activating a new passive skill called House Declaration Level 3. Seojun is absolutely shocked, but as the realization of restored electricity sinks in, Seojun's shock turns to happiness. He clenches his fists tightly and rushes to the fridge. Excitedly, Seojun opens the door of the fridge and sees that it is working properly again. Not stopping there, Seojun goes to his room, turns on the water tap, and sees that water is flowing again. Testing further, Seojun switches on his induction cooktop, and it too turns on. Overwhelmed with joy, Seojun collapses to the floor. Tears stream down his face as he whispers, "Everything is working again, just like before." He had truly thought he would die alone in this room without electricity or water, but now it seemed that fate had given him a chance. After calming down, an idea strikes Seojun. He slowly glances at his phone, hopeful. Could the internet have come back too? But his hope is quickly crushed when he realizes that his phone still shows no internet. Seojun grabs his head in despair. He sits on the floor, sad and defeated. After a while, Seojun's hand accidentally hits something. Looking down, he notices a pen drive lying next to the garbage bin. Curiously, Seojun quickly picks it up and inserts it into his computer. The pen drive contains old photos of Seojun. As the pictures flash on the screen, Seojun sees his mother feeding him when he was a baby. Another photo shows a younger Seojun ready for kindergarten, holding his mother's hand as she walks him to school. The slideshow continues, showing a teenage Seojun smiling with his happy parents. Finally, a photo appears of Seojun at age 20, standing proudly with his mom and dad, both beaming with joy. Seeing these family photos fills Seojun with irritation. His anger builds as he grits his teeth hard. With a deadly serious look in his eyes, Seojun mutters, "I need to bring my family into this safe house. No matter what, I will get out of this room and save them." This becomes Seojun's goal. He stands up with renewed determination and walks back to his balcony. As he approaches, he thinks about how he can escape his house. Seojun decides to check all his abilities, hoping for a clue to break free. While examining his skills, Seojun notices something new: the Ultimate Shut-In Store, Level 1. The system explains that from this store, Seojun can buy any items he lists, and they will be available at their original market price. Seojun is puzzled. He doesn't fully understand how the store works or how to use it. The store then notifies Seojun to list an item as his first purchase. Seojun's total balance of 2.2 million won is displayed, and the system asks him, will Seojun list his first item? In front of Seojun's eyes, the same system notification remains, blinking persistently. It reads, "Buy items listed in the store at their original price." Seojun stares at it, confused, wondering what is a store and what type of items it can even have. Despite his confusion, Seojun decides to click on the list icon. As soon as his finger touches it, 2 more notifications appear before him. The first notification reveals that Seojun's ultimate shut-in wallet is a max-level wallet, currently holding 2.2 million won. The system asks if Seojun would like to list his first item. After staring at the notification for a moment, Seojun realizes that the money he earned from the flying beast is now safely stored in this wallet. He lets out a sigh and reflects on the situation. Still deep in thought, Seojun walks over to his window. Slowly, he opens it and steps onto his balcony, thinking, maybe this is his chance to finally leave the room. But just as hope flickers in his mind, the system interrupts with another notification. The ultimate shut-in cannot leave the house. Seojun feels a wave of disappointment wash over him. He had hoped that leveling up might grant him freedom from the barrier, but his hopes are crushed. His hands tighten into fists as he faces the harsh reality. However, a new determination begins to build within Seojun. He clenches his fists tightly and resolves that if he keeps killing monsters and leveling up, he might unlock a skill that allows him to leave this room in the future. Seojun begins to think that if he continues to level up, he might eventually gain the power to escape. But another question lingers. If Seojun cannot leave his room, how can he kill monsters? He starts pacing back and forth, realizing that the flying beast hitting his window was a 1 in a million chance. A rare occurrence that's unlikely to happen again. Seojun decides he must find a way to kill monsters while staying in his room. After spending 5-10 minutes thinking, Seojun notices something unusual. Down below, the goblins are busy taking chunks of meat from the flying beast. Seojun studies them closely and observes that they don't seem very powerful. He wonders if it might be possible to kill them. Without wasting time, Seojun rushes back into his room. He grabs a water bottle, holds it tightly in his hand, and stretches his arm behind him. With all his strength, Seojun hurls the water bottle off the balcony. The bottle whooshes through the air and lands far beyond the balcony. Seojun's eyes begin to sparkle as he realizes something critical. He cannot leave his room, but whatever he throws outside can cross the barrier freely. This discovery excites Seojun. His plan forms quickly. He will throw heavy objects at the goblins from his room, using their weight to crush them and earn experience points. Seojun starts searching his house for anything heavy enough to use as a weapon. After scouring every corner, he finds a 5-kilogram dumbbell. It was a purchase he made long ago to build his body, but it had gone unused. Holding the dumbbell, Seojun smiles, feeling its weight in his hands. But as he steps onto the balcony and looks down, his smile vanishes. The goblins, now carrying large chunks of the flying beast's meat, are starting to leave the area around his house. Seojun feels panic rising. If the goblins leave, how will Seojun kill monsters to level up? Without hesitation, Seojun stretches his arms, gripping the dumbbell tightly. With all his might, Seojun hurls the dumbbell toward the goblins. The dumbbell soars through the air, passing effortlessly through the barrier. Seojun watches anxiously as it descends toward the goblins. But to Seojun's disappointment, the dumbbell lands on the flying beast's meat, instead of hitting any of the goblins. The sound of the impact sends the goblins into a frenzy. They scream and look around, trying to figure out what just happened. Seojun feels frustration boiling inside him. His face turns red with anger as he realizes he has messed up. Seojun only has one dumbbell left, and now the chances of leveling up seem slimmer. Seojun stands frozen, holding the remaining dumbbell tightly. His thoughts spiral. What if he misses again? If the second dumbbell doesn't hit, he won't have any weapons left to defend himself. Seojun's grip tightens, and his eyes narrow with determination, knowing he cannot afford another mistake. Seojun stands frozen in one spot for a long time, his mind racing. No matter how much Seojun searches his house, there's no weapon heavy enough to handle all the goblins. TVs, computers, even the fridge. Seojun just isn't strong enough to throw them. Suddenly, a loud noise startles him. The screams of goblins echo from outside, crazy and chaotic. Seojun's heart skips a beat as he rushes to his balcony and looks down. To his shock, Seojun sees hundreds of goblins gathered in front of his building. At the center of them all stands their leader, a goblin with hair shaped like a chicken's beak, and in his hand, Seojun's dumbbell. The leader, who has dangerous-looking six-pack abs, points at Seojun with a menacing glare. He starts yelling in his strange language, clearly abusing Seojun. Behind him, all the other goblins join in, screaming and throwing gestures at Seojun. Seojun takes a step back, his body tense. Even though Seojun knows the goblins can't enter his house, the sight of hundreds of them standing in front of his building, all screaming at him, sends chills down his spine. Then, in the blink of an eye, all the goblins charge towards Seojun's building, weapons raised and screaming like maniacs. But instead of panicking, Seojun's expression changes. A thought crosses his mind. This isn't a scary situation. In fact, this might be a good thing. The goblins were leaving his area before, but now more goblins are gathering near his building. The only problem? Seojun needs to find items to throw at them fast. As Seojun racks his brain, an idea suddenly clicks in his head. Seojun immediately opens his system notification and activates the ultimate shut-in store. Without hesitation, Seojun clicks on the list item icon. The system asks Seojun if he wants to list his first item. Seojun hesitates for a moment, unsure if this is a good idea or not. Slowly, he picks up his last remaining dumbbell and considers what to do. Seojun knows that throwing this single dumbbell might not kill many goblins. Worse, if Seojun's accuracy fails, he might miss completely. But something inside Seojun tells him this store might be the key to solving his problems. Seojun doesn't delay. With a single command, he places the dumbbell into the ultimate shut-in store. Suddenly, a holographic light flashes over Seojun's hand, scanning the dumbbell. For a moment, Seojun panics, thinking the system will take the dumbbell away. But when the light fades, Seojun realizes he's still holding the dumbbell. The system only took a scan of it. The system notifies Seojun that his classic non-slip 3 kilograms dumbbell has been successfully listed in the ultimate shut-in store. Seojun checks the store and sees the dumbbell listed there. The price? 16,991. Seojun is stunned. It's the exact same price Seojun paid for it in the market. This means that anything Seojun lists in the store can be purchased at the same price as the original market value. This discovery is revolutionary. It changes everything. Now, as long as Seojun has enough money, he can buy unlimited items. To test this, Seojun commands the system to create 2 more dumbbells. The moment Seojun confirms, a white light shines from the store. Right before Seojun's eyes, 2 new dumbbells are created, forming in the air like they're being 3D printed. Seojun's face lights up with excitement. His eyes sparkle as he realizes he doesn't have to worry about running out of dumbbells anymore. Without wasting another second, Seojun carefully aims and, with a whoosh, throws a dumbbell toward the goblins. This time, things are different. The goblins are standing much closer to Seojun's building, all grouped together in one spot. As the dumbbell descends, it lands directly on the head of one goblin. Crack! The goblin's head bursts open, blood splattering everywhere. The goblin collapses to the ground, dead on the spot. Almost immediately, the system notifies Seojun that he has successfully hunted a level 7 goblin. Seojun has gained 3,345 won, which has been deposited directly into his ultimate shut-in wallet. Seojun's heart races with excitement. His plan is working, and now leveling up seems more possible than ever. Seojun realizes that the cost of one dumbbell is 16,991, but he only earns 3,001 per goblin kill. This is a terrible deal, Seojun thinks. It's a massive loss to use dumbbells for killing goblins. But despite this, Seojun feels a sense of happiness. He managed to kill a goblin without leaving the safety of his house. Meanwhile, outside, the goblins are stunned. They can't figure out how their comrade suddenly died. They look around in confusion, wondering what came flying from afar. The goblins all gather around the corpse, staring at it. As the realization hits them that their comrade is dead, the goblins become enraged. They scream and glare up toward the sky. Some even begin hurling abuses in their strange language, their anger directed at Seojun's balcony. But suddenly, another dumbbell comes flying toward the goblins with a loud bang. This time, however, the goblins are ready. They dodge the attack effortlessly. The goblins are clearly unimpressed by the dumbbell, their disdain evident in their reactions. Seeing this, Seojun gets pissed. Annoyed but determined, Seojun buys more 3-kilogram dumbbells from his ultimate shut-in store. Seojun knows he's taking a loss, spending 16,001 per dumbbell with no guarantee of hitting a goblin. Even when a dumbbell does hit its target, the payout is only 3,001, a mere fraction of the cost. But money isn't Seojun's goal. Leveling up is all that matters to him right now. Seojun considers listing larger items like TVs or fridges in his ultimate shut-in store, but the thought quickly fades. Those items are not only expensive, but they're also too big and slow. The goblins would easily dodge them. Seojun drops the idea. Instead, Seojun buys more dumbbells. Armed with a stockpile of these weights, Seojun begins throwing them in bulk. One by one, the dumbbells start striking goblins on their heads, killing them instantly. The system floods Seojun with notifications of Seojun killing level 7, 8, and level 10 goblins. With each kill, Seojun earns 2,001, 3,001, and 4,001, but just as Seojun planned, his focus isn't on the money. After killing 4 to 5 goblins, Seojun levels up. The system notifies him that his level has increased and grants him a new skill. Seeing this, Seojun's heart races with excitement. This is exactly what he was aiming for. The system informs Seojun that he has acquired the ultimate shut-in storage system, level 1. This alternate dimension allows Seojun to store and retrieve items at will. Seojun activates his new skill. In front of him, a holographic house-like interface appears. Curious, Seojun tries to store his dumbbells in the storage system. The system prompts Seojun to confirm his action. When he agrees, a bright light flashes over Seojun's hands. One by one, the dumbbells vanish into the system. Seojun checks his ultimate shut-in storage system and confirms that all his dumbbells are safely stored there. Whenever Seojun needs them, he can summon the items instantly from this alternate dimension. Seojun's eyes begin to sparkle with excitement. He gives a command to summon the dumbbells, and they materialize in his hands. With a growing grin, Seojun realizes he can summon items wherever he wants, at any location, at any time. Holding the dumbbells, Seojun's grin transforms into an evil, psychopathic smile. His mind is already formulating a devious plan. Time passes, and soon, an intense blue light glows from Seojun's room. Seojun has purchased hundreds of dumbbells and stored them in his ultimate shut-in storage system. Standing on his balcony, Seojun stretches out his hand. He closes his eyes and imagines all the dumbbells stored in his system. With a single command, Seojun summons them. Like a torrential rain, hundreds of dumbbells fall from the sky, crashing down toward the goblins below. The goblins are overwhelmed, unable to dodge the onslaught of weights falling all at once. One by one, the goblins are crushed. Blood splatters everywhere as the dumbbells strike with deadly precision. The system continuously notifies Seojun of his kills and earnings. After 3 to 4 minutes, the massacre ends. All the goblins lie dead, and the system announces that Seojun has earned 56,661, deposited into his ultimate shut-in wallet. The system asks if Seojun wants to list more items in his ultimate shut-in store. Seeing this, Seojun's eyes gleam with renewed excitement. Seojun realizes that his new storage ability changes everything. With this skill, Seojun can endlessly throw items, summon them back, and throw them again. It's no longer just a fight, it's a win-win situation. After that, we are shown that Seojun has listed many items in his ultimate shut-in store. Items like classic non-slip dumbbells priced at 16,991 won, ramen, samdaju water, rice, special eggs, easy-to-digest milk, yogurt, canola oil, and even half-used tomato ketchup. All these prices were listed, and Seojun had 2.1 million won left in his account. Seojun should have saved far less money than this, but after killing all the goblins, Seojun sold the remaining dumbbells. By selling them, Seojun earned a 90% return. putting him back in profit, despite spending Rs. 1,001 to kill each goblin, Seojun still managed to gain 2,001 won in profit per goblin. Now, since Seojun has listed all the groceries in his home, Seojun essentially has unlimited resources. However, Seojun soon notices something odd. His money starts decreasing, one at a time. Seojun initially had 2.1 million won, 78,806, but now it's 2.1 million won, 78,805. Every minute, another one vanishes. Equal sign. Seojun becomes confused. Why is his money decreasing? Seojun thinks for a while, analyzing all the possibilities. He realizes it's not because of the dumbbells, and it's not related to listing the items in the store. Otherwise, those amounts would have been deducted earlier. Finally, Seojun comes to a conclusion. It must be due to his dignity preservation skill. This passive skill ensures that Seojun's house has electricity, water, and other facilities. To keep these running, the system must be deducting money from Seojun's ultimate shut-in wallet. Seojun turns to look at his fridge and thinks that the electricity powering it must be draining his funds. Thinking about this, Seojun feels a bit irritated. He has plenty of money now, but this ongoing expense means he'll need a steady source of income. After throwing all the dumbbells at the goblins earlier, almost all of them were killed. But the heavy rain of dumbbells had frightened the remaining goblins away. The goblins nearby had fled, and those further away weren't coming close to Seojun's house anymore. 3 to 4 hours pass, and in that time, Seojun manages to kill only 1 or 2 goblins. When Seojun looks outside again, there isn't a single goblin in sight. Seojun starts feeling frustrated. If goblins don't come to his house, how will Seojun level up? If Seojun can't kill goblins, then he won't be able to progress. And if Seojun doesn't level up, he'll never gain the ability to leave his house. Seojun gets even more irritated as he thinks about his situation. How can he hunt goblins if they stop approaching? Just as this thought settles in, Seojun glances down from his balcony and notices something. The huge, slimy, crow-like flying beast. Its head remains intact, though the goblins had harvested most of its other parts earlier. Seeing this, Seojun pauses and thinks, there are no goblins down there now, but he needs a new technique, something that will allow him to level up and progress further. Seojun looks out from his balcony, his mind racing with ideas. He wonders if he'll ever get lucky enough again for a flying beast to crash into his barrier and die like before. But suddenly, Seojun's eyes go wide. The huge, slimy, crow-like flying beast begins moving again, slowly drifting toward Seojun's building. As it gets closer, we are shown a close-up of the creature. And damn! It looks even more disgusting and dangerous than before. The beast opens its mouth, revealing a mass of tentacle-like teeth. Out of its mouth emerged 3 writhing tentacles, each twisting and turning endlessly. Where do these tentacles even end? The flying beast doesn't appear to be attacking. It seems to be merely passing by Seojun's building. But the sight of it still leaves Seojun shocked. Without wasting another second, Seojun runs back into his house. An idea has hit him, a brilliant one. Seojun thanks God, muttering that luck hasn't abandoned him yet. Seojun remembers that this flying beast resembles a crow, and crows are known to be attracted to reflective objects. Seojun decides to use this to his advantage. Seojun rushes around his house, finding a ladder and tying a small mirror to it. He secures the mirror tightly, ensuring it stays in place. With the ladder in hand, Seojun returns to his balcony and begins lowering it carefully, positioning the reflective surface where the flying beast can see it. Since crows are attracted to reflective objects, Seojun's plan banks on the idea that the crow-type beast will be drawn toward him. And it works! As soon as the crow-type beast catches sight of the mirror, all its attention fixates on Seojun. The beast immediately turns toward him, lets out a disgusting roar, opens its gaping mouth, and flies straight towards Seojun. Seeing this, Seojun smiles. His plan worked, but that smile doesn't last long. Seojun is quickly disappointed. He had hoped that, like a dumb crow, the beast would fly into his barrier and kill itself on impact. But this crow, it was smarter. The beast stops just short of Seojun's window. It doesn't crash. Instead, it hovers, glaring at Seojun through the barrier. Then, to Seojun's shock, the beast starts speaking in its own language. The crow-type beast looks hungry. It sizes Seojun up, clearly thinking about devouring him. But now Seojun has a new problem. If the beast doesn't kill itself on the barrier, how will Seojun defeat it? Before Seojun can react, the crow-type beast begins flapping its massive wings. A strong gust of wind rushes towards Seojun, creating immense pressure. Seojun gathers all his strength and stands firm, refusing to be pushed back. The wind is so strong Seojun can barely keep his eyes open. As the gust settles, a fog forms momentarily, and when it clears, the beast is gone. Seojun's heart pounds. He is scared. Did the flying beast leave? Cautiously, Seojun steps onto his balcony to look outside. He peers over the edge, scanning for any sign of the creature. Then, with a sinking feeling, Seojun realizes the truth. The crow-type beast is still there, perched just above Seojun's balcony. The beast waits patiently, watching and lurking. The moment Seojun steps out far enough, it plans to strike. The beast opens its grotesque mouth, saliva dripping as it inches closer to devouring Seojun. Seojun feels a wave of fear wash over him. Sure, the barrier will protect him, but the sight of such a disgusting creature up close would terrify anyone. The beast lifts its head and slams it against the barrier, attempting to reach Seojun. The system immediately notifies Seojun. An unauthorized entity is attempting to enter. The barrier has stopped the unauthorized entity from breaching. But the crow-type beast does not give up. It slams into the barrier again and again, each attempt more ferocious than the last. Seojun, though still scared, knows the barrier is strong and will hold. But the thought of what if it breaks sends chills through him. What if this dangerous beast somehow manages to breach the barrier? Deciding not to waste any more time, Seojun opens his ultimate shut-in store. He recalls how his loot calculation skill works. It will only activate if the monster killed by Seojun dies inside the barrier. If a creature's corpse ends up outside the barrier, the loot calculation skill won't activate. Seojun reflects on his previous battles. Many of the goblins he killed had fallen outside the barrier, and he lost out on their loot. Even goblins that were dragged away before fully dying had cost Seojun valuable rewards. For the loot calculation to work, the crow beast must die inside the barrier, and not just that, it needs to stay inside for a while for the loot to register. This means Seojun can't afford any mistakes. He can't risk just injuring the crow beast. Throwing a TV, fridge, or even multiple dumbbells at once could injure the beast, but it might survive and flee. Seojun understands that if the beast escapes, he'll lose the chance to loot it entirely. And if the beast retaliates, it could cause even more chaos. Seojun realizes that throwing household items, whether it's a TV, fridge, or dumbbell, is not an option. He will need a precise, well-executed plan to kill the crow-type beast in one clean strike. Seojun gets very irritated. The crow beast is still attacking the barrier again and again without stopping. Time is ticking. Seojun needs to come up with a new idea, and fast. At the same time, Seojun's eyes glance at the list of items in his ultimate shut-in store. One of the listed items, canola oil, catches his attention. With a click, an idea sparks in Seojun's mind. Seojun quickly purchases 20 bottles of canola oil. As soon as he confirms the purchase, the bottles begin materializing before him, forming like they're being created by a 3D printer. Every time an item appears, Seojun watches in awe. No matter how many times he sees it, the process never fails to surprise him. Once all the bottles of canola oil have been generated, Seojun quickly gathers them onto his lap and rushes to the kitchen. He wastes no time grabbing a saucepan and pouring the canola oil into heat. While the oil heats up, Seojun grabs a stick and ties a white t-shirt to it, twisting it tightly. He dips the shirt into the heating oil, allowing it to soak up the liquid completely. Once the t-shirt is thoroughly soaked, Seojun carefully places the oil-soaked shirt aside. He takes the rest of the canola oil bottles and stores them back in his ultimate shut-in store. Now ready, Seojun pulls out a lighter and ignites the oil-soaked t-shirt. In an instant, it transforms into a flaming torch. With the torch in hand, Seojun runs toward his balcony. As he reaches the balcony, he notices the crow beast still waiting, its disgusting mouth slightly open, drooling in anticipation. It's waiting for Seojun to step out so it can attack. Seojun grips the torch tightly, his mind racing with determination. He closes his eyes, focuses intensely, and imagines the boiling hot canola oil splashing directly onto the crow beast's head. With a sharp command, the oil is summoned. In a loud splash, the boiling oil pours down on the crow beast's body. The effect is immediate. The crow beast screams in agony as its body begins to burn from the intense heat. The oil is so hot that the creature's entire body starts catching fire. But Seojun isn't done yet. With a swift motion, he throws the flaming torch directly onto the burning crow beast. The moment the torch comes into contact with the hot oil, it ignites the creature even further. In mere seconds, the beast is engulfed in flames, its entire body burning rapidly. The crow beast lets out a final deafening roar before its wings catch fire. It struggles to move, but it's too late. With a loud bang, the burning beast collapses to the ground, still aflame. Seojun watches from his balcony as the beast burns slowly. The smell is horrific, and Seojun's face twists in disgust as the stench fills his nose. After 5 to 10 minutes, the beast finally dies. The system immediately notifies Seojun. Seojun has defeated a level 27 Kalkan beast. Seojun has gained a massive amount of experience points. As a result, Seojun levels up 3 to 4 times, and his skills improve significantly. Not only that, Seojun also unlocks a new skill. The system completes the loot calculation, notifying Seojun that he has earned 9.3 million won, which has been deposited directly into his ultimate shut-in wallet. Seojun's face reflects a mix of disbelief and awe. He has never seen so much money in his life. But the system isn't done. It informs Seojun that he has fulfilled all requirements, and the house territory expansion will now begin. Before Seojun can process this, the building starts to shake violently. Seojun struggles to keep his balance, unsure of what's happening. His vision begins to blur, and his chest tightens as intense pain spreads through his body. Seojun feels his senses heighten dramatically. His vision turns black and white, and suddenly, he becomes acutely aware of everything around him, even sensing the movement of an ant nearby. Information floods Seojun's mind at an overwhelming speed. His vision expands rapidly, and he begins to sense something surprising. Seojun realizes there's a family nearby. A father, a mother, and 2 children, all huddled together in a dark room. Confused, Seojun wonders who these people are. After thinking for a moment, he realizes they're his neighbors. After that, the scene shifts. We see Seojun still standing in the same spot, holding his head. His eyes remain black, and his vision continues to reveal everything happening within a limited distance. Seojun is overwhelmed. So much information is flooding his mind at once. Despite the confusion, Seojun's eyes fixate on the family he sensed earlier. A husband, a wife, and their 2 children, all appearing tense and worried. The tension builds so much within Seojun that, in a sudden act, he deactivates his skill. As soon as he does, the black fog lifts from his eyes and disperses throughout the room in a shockwave. In that moment, Seojun unlocks a new skill, Domain Expansion X-Ray Vision. Seojun already possessed the Domain Expansion Ultimate Barrier, but now, with the addition of X-Ray Vision, he can see everything happening inside his building in detail. Back to the story. Seojun is shaken by this experience. He starts laughing uncontrollably, not from joy, but from sheer disbelief. So much information is buzzing in his head. The first piece of information, the details about Choi Yun, a 30-year-old man who is the husband Seojun sensed earlier. Then comes Park Hyun, the wife, also 30 years old. Finally, information floods in about their 2 children, a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. Suddenly, the system notifies Seojun that he has discovered beings who meet the requirements to become citizens of his barrier. It asks if Seojun wants to grant them citizenship. Seojun pauses. He doesn't understand what citizenship means, or what will happen if he doesn't grant it to these 4 people. The system explains, if Seojun doesn't grant them citizenship, they will be forced to leave the barrier. Initially, Seojun's barrier only covered his room, but with this recent expansion, his barrier has tripled in size, now including his neighbors' rooms as well. Seojun realizes the weight of his decision. If he doesn't give citizenship to the family, they'll be expelled from their rooms, left defenseless against the monsters outside. Seojun knows what will happen if that occurs. They'll be killed. Without hesitation, Seojun grants citizenship to the 4 people. The system registers their citizenship, and now Seojun's new citizenship skill becomes active. With determined eyes, Seojun begins exploring this new ability. He discovers that his skill is called Ultimate All-Seeing Eyes, Level 1. With this skill, nothing inside Seojun's barrier can escape his sight. He can concentrate his vision on any part of the barrier and view it as if watching TV. Seojun opens his system window and notices a new icon, Citizenship Management. As soon as he clicks it, the names of the 4 family members appear, the husband, wife, and their 2 children. The system provides detailed information that the husband is level 9, the wife is level 5, the children are levels 2 and 3. Additionally, their trust levels are displayed. Also, the husband's trust is at 24, The wife's trust is at 18. The children's trust levels are 32 and 42, respectively. However, what shocks Seojun most is when he notices the current population limit. The system reveals that Seojun's citizenship skill can support 600 people, yet only 4 are currently registered. Seojun is stunned. He now has the potential to take in 600 citizens under his barrier, but he still doesn't fully understand the benefits of granting citizenship. Curious, Seojun explores further. When he clicks on the husband's profile, a new window opens, revealing more details. That Choi-Yun's awakening ability was none. Experience distribution rate was 0%. Money distribution rate was 0%. And finally, the system shows that Seojun can adjust these rates. He can assign quests to Choi-Yun and even expel him from the barrier if needed. Seojun thinks for a moment, analyzing the experience and money distribution rates. A theory begins to form in his mind. Seojun believes these options mean that whatever monsters the citizens kill in the future, Seojun can decide how much of their experience and earnings he will receive. If Seojun's theory is correct, this means he could earn XP and money effortlessly by simply managing his citizens. He wouldn't even need to leave his house. His citizens would do the work for him while he reaped the rewards. Realizing this, Seojun's lips curl into a smirking smile. The possibilities of his new skill excite him, and he begins to see how this could change everything. After that, Seojun notices a gift quest icon in Choi Hung's system window. As soon as Seojun clicks on the gift quest icon, a new system menu opens. Here, Seojun realizes that he can give quests to his citizens. At this rate, Seojun doesn't even need a system to get stronger. He is the system, the administrator of his own domain. Seojun decides to create a new quest for the husband. Seojun writes the details. The husband must kill a goblin within 168 hours. The reward? A small amount of XP. The penalty? None. But Seojun gets curious. Can the penalty be edited? How far can he push it? Seojun wonders if the system will accept something as extreme as a death penalty. With a daring thought, Seojun types death as the penalty for failure. To his shock, the system accepts it. This means if Seojun assigns this quest and his husband fails, his husband will die. Seojun immediately cancels the quest. The realization hits him. At any moment, he has the power to kill his citizens. Seojun sits on the ground, deep in thought. With this insane ability, what could he accomplish? How could he use it to his advantage? Seojun sits for a long time, eyes closed, contemplating his next move. Then he decides to use his domain expansion, all-seeing pervy eyes, to observe the family. He wants to know what they're doing, what they need, and what's going through their minds. Seojun activates his skill again, his eyes turning black with intense concentration. Through his vision, he starts peeking into the family's room. The scene shifts to the family. From now on, we'll call the husband Fatty. Fatty's wife, distressed, asks him what they should do. They're running out of food, out of water, and without electricity. How will we survive? She pleads. Fatty appears conflicted as he looks toward his wife. They are running out of food, water, and without electricity, survival seems impossible. His youngest daughter weakly tugs at her mother's sleeve, her parched lips trembling as she whispers about being thirsty. Fatty's gaze shifts between his daughters. If he were alone, he could endure the suffering, but the sight of his children hungry and thirsty is unbearable. His mind races as he tries to think of a way forward. He knows he must go outside to find water. The supermarket nearby is the only chance they have, but stepping out into the chaos could mean never returning. His wife's worried glance reveals her fear. She knows how dangerous the outside world has become. The silence in the room is heavy, filled with despair. The family's collective fear and uncertainty weigh on Seojun as he watches. Unable to take in any more, Seojun deactivates his ultimate all-seeing eyes. The vision fades, but the emotional weight of what he witnessed lingers. Seojun opens his system notifications, searching for answers and solutions. Navigating through his ultimate shut-in store, Seojun discovers the upgrade section. He notices he has 3 upgrade points to distribute among Storage, Dignity Preservation, Ultimate Shut-in Store. Without hesitation, Seojun upgrades his Ultimate Shut-in Store to level 2. A bright light flashes as the upgrade completes. Now, instead of storing just 10 items, Seojun can store 20 items. Additionally, he can purchase all items at a 10% discount. Seojun pauses to strategize. After careful thought, he upgrades the Ultimate Shut-in Store to level 3, the Dignity Preservation skill to level 2. Another burst of light signifies the completion of these upgrades. Seojun sits back, satisfied with his decisions. With the level 3 Ultimate Shut-in Store, Seojun can manage a significantly larger inventory, and by upgrading dignity preservation, he can now provide electricity and other facilities to the family. Seojun realizes this is a critical move. Extending resources to the family will increase their trust in him. That trust will allow Seojun to use them strategically for his future plans. Seojun smiles faintly. He feels the shift in his control, knowing the power he now holds isn't just immense, it's limitless. But that's not all. Upon reaching level 3, Seojun unlocks a new ability that allows him to restore any destroyed items stored in the ultimate shut-in store. Upon seeing this new ability, Seojun closes his eyes for a moment, then opens them and begins laughing. This skill is genuinely dangerous. Seojun chuckles, realizing it was absolutely worth it to upgrade the ultimate shut-in store to level 3. Seojun thinks about the leftover food and damaged items scattered around his house. If he stores these items in the ultimate shut-in store, the system will restore them to their original state. This realization fills Seojun with excitement. Without hesitation, Seojun opens the ultimate shut-in store and begins buying large amounts of food and water. Afterward, Seojun upgrades his dignity preservation skill to level 2. The system immediately notifies him that he has unlocked a new ability, the ability to register vessels. Confused, Seojun tries to understand what vessels are, but the system doesn't provide further information. Seojun decides to figure it out later. Right now, his priority is to check on the family. The scene shifts, and we see Fatty packing his bag to go out and fetch water. His wife and 2 daughters are visibly upset, their expressions filled with fear and sadness. Fatty kneels down beside his daughters, placing his hands gently on their heads. He tells them to be good girls and to listen to their mother while he's away. The 2 girls, trying to be brave, tell their father to be careful and to come back safely. Fatty pats their heads softly and reassures them, promising that he will return. But deep inside, he knows the truth. Going outside might mean he'll never come back. Fatty's youngest daughter begins crying, recalling the monsters outside. The scene flashes back to 3 days ago. It was a golden morning, the sun shining brightly as Fatty's 2 daughters played in the park. Everything seemed peaceful until suddenly a horde of goblins attacked. The goblins wreaked havoc, devouring other children in the park. Without hesitation, Fatty's parents, like heroes, grabbed their grandchildren and raced back home. The memory lingers in the children's minds, filling them with dread. Back in the present, the daughters cry, fearing that the monsters will kill their father if he goes outside. Fatty's wife tries to comfort them, hiding her own fear. Fatty stands firm, his resolve unwavering. He knows the dangers but insists he must go. Deep down, though, he feels this might be the last time he'll see his wife and daughters. Suddenly, a knock echoes through the room, startling everyone. Fatty's wife and daughters freeze in fear. Fatty grabs a baseball bat from his bag, his heart racing. From the other side of the door, a deep, creepy voice calls out, asking if anyone is inside. Fatty tightens his grip on the bat, wondering if the voice belongs to a monster pretending to be human. His wife keeps her daughters silent, holding their mouths to prevent them from making a sound. The knocking persists, and Fatty steps cautiously toward the door. His grip on the bat tightens as he prepares for the worst. With a loud bang, the door bursts open. Fatty's instinct kicks in. He immediately runs back to his wife, shielding his daughters and promising he won't let anything happen to them. Tears stream down his face as he hugs them tightly. From behind him, a warm and kind tone interrupts the tension. A voice reassures him that there's no need to be scared. Fatty turns around slowly, his body still trembling. To his surprise, it's not a monster standing there, but a human. The man introduces himself kindly, saying his name is Seojun. He explains that he lives in the next room and has brought food and water for Fatty's family. He asks if they can talk. Hearing about the food and water, Fatty feels both surprised and confused. His wife looks at Seojun skeptically but doesn't sense any immediate danger. Although Fatty has lived in the apartment for years, he has never seen Seojun before. However, something about Seojun's demeanor feels genuine. Fatty's gut instinct tells him this person isn't bad. After a moment of hesitation, Fatty decides to trust Seojun. After that, the scene shifts, and we see Fatty's 2 children hiding behind their dad, their suspicious eyes fixed on Seojun. Both children don't trust him at all. Meanwhile, Fatty, his wife, and the 2 kids are sitting together at the same table. Seojun is peeling oranges, thinking how to break this tense environment. Seojun watches them quietly, wondering if he has given too much big of a shock. However, as Seojun looks around their room, he notices it is completely bare. They have no food, no water, and no light. The curtains are drawn tightly to prevent attracting monsters from outside. Seojun nods to himself, acknowledging that keeping the curtains closed was a smart move. Had they been left open, the crow beast would have surely attacked. Deciding to help further, Seojun concentrates on the ceiling light of the room. His eyes begin to glow blue, and with a single blink, the room's light flickers to life. Fatty glances at the suddenly illuminated room, his face etched with confusion. He wonders how the light turned on. But before he can think too much, Seojun slides a bottle of water across the table. Seojun gestures for Fatty to give the water to his children first. Fatty nods, passing the bottle to his kids. The moment the kids get the water, they grab it eagerly and start drinking quickly. The children drink deeply, savoring every drop. To them, the water tastes unusually sweet and refreshing. Seojun observes them closely, a faint smile on his face. The youngest child, Seohyun, drinks so much water in one go that she nearly chokes. Noticing this, Seojun quickly offers her an orange. Seohyun, still wary, hesitates, but eventually reaches out, taking the orange cautiously. As soon as Seohyun peels the orange slightly, the sweet, tangy aroma fills the air. The smell is so delightful that her mouth begins to water. Seohyun carries the orange to her mom and quietly asks her to peel it. Her mom peels a piece of the orange and feeds it to her gently. The moment Seohyun eats it, her eyes sparkle with delight. The orange is so sweet and juicy that it melts in her mouth. Her joy is evident, and the tension in the room begins to ease. Seeing her sister enjoy the orange, Na-yun, the older child, starts drooling and asks their mom for a piece as well. Fatty's wife obliges, peeling another piece of orange and feeding it to Na-hyun. As Na-hyun eats, she too finds the orange delicious beyond words. The children's laughter begins to fill the room, transforming the previously tense atmosphere into one of happiness. As Seojun observes the family's newfound joy, the system notification appears before his eyes. Fatty's wife and husband's trust in Seojun has increased significantly. Fatty's youngest child's trust has exceeded 50. Seohyun's trust level has now reached 57, qualifying her to become a vassal. Seojun is shocked to see this notification. Though he still doesn't fully understand what a vassal is, he is certain of one thing: he does not want to make a 3-year-old child his vassal. Thinking about it further, Seojun considers Fatty's trust level. If Fatty's trust surpasses 50, then maybe Seojun will be able to make Fatty his vassal. However, Seojun quickly recalls another limitation. At his current level, he can only have 10 vessels at a time. This means he will have to choose his vessels wisely. Seojun sits back, his thoughts racing. His newfound ability has opened doors to endless possibilities, but with power comes decisions, and Seojun knows he will need to be careful moving forward. Seojun thinks hard about how he can increase Fatty's trust to 50 or more, as Fatty's current trust level is only 31. Seojun is deeply lost in thought when Fatty suddenly clears his throat and calls out to Seojun. Fatty begins by thanking Seojun earnestly. He explains that Seojun can't even imagine how happy and relieved he feels after receiving a little food and water for his family. Fatty then asks how he could possibly repay Seojun's kindness. Seojun responds calmly, suggesting they step outside to discuss things further. The scene shifts, and now we see Fatty and Seojun standing in the corridor. Seojun starts by asking Fatty if he received a system notification, specifically a citizenship notification. Fatty nods, explaining that not only he but his entire family received the notification about 30 minutes ago. Seojun presses further, asking if Fatty noticed anything strange when the notification appeared. Fatty explains that for a brief moment, none of them could move. They were frozen in place, which scared them deeply, but after a while, they regained their ability to move. Hearing this, Seojun realizes something critical. If he hadn't granted citizenship to Fatty and his family in time, they would have been teleported out of the building. This realization makes Seojun's demeanor serious and focused. With a clear and confident tone, Seojun tells Fatty that if he helps him, Seojun will provide food, water, shelter, electricity, and most importantly, protection. Seojun assures Fatty that no monster will be able to come near them. Their safety will be guaranteed. Fatty looks shocked by this bold promise. He asks how such a thing could even be possible. However, Seojun doesn't explain further. Instead, Seojun states firmly that if Fatty wants food, water, and safety, he must trust Seojun without question. Seojun also assures him that he will never ask him to do anything that puts his life at risk. Fatty closes his eyes for a moment, trusting his gut feeling. Despite everything, Fatty feels that Seojun is not a bad person. However, Fatty raises a valid point. There's nothing free in this world, so what do you want in return? Seojun replies calmly that he doesn't want anything material. He only wants Fatty to do something small for him. Fatty, who initially feared that Seojun might demand something dangerous, feels relieved by this response. His trust in Seojun increases significantly. With a warm tone, Fatty even calls Seojun his brother. Seojun smiles slightly, acknowledging Fatty's words. Then, shifting the conversation, Seojun points to the golf club Fatty had earlier and asks what its price was. Fatty looks confused as to why Seojun would ask about the price of a golf club. Seojun pauses, appearing startled when Fatty mentions the high value of the golf club. Seojun realizes it would be too expensive to list in his store. Changing the subject, Seojun tells Fatty they can discuss the golf club later. Seojun then asks Fatty if he remembers when the apocalypse began. Fatty recalls that it was a weekend when he took his kids out to play. That's when a horde of goblins suddenly attacked. Fatty recounts how terrifying the experience was and confirms that the apocalypse began on that day. Seojun pieces together the timeline, remembering that on that day, he was chilling in his room like a true shut-in. He deduces that those who stayed home that day might have been spared from the initial wave of destruction. Seojun reflects on the nature of the goblins. Individually, they're not very dangerous, but in large groups, they become a serious threat. Seojun thinks about his citizenship ability and concludes that it will be crucial for survival in the apocalypse. Finally, Seojun gives Fatty a clear and decisive command. Find survivors and bring them to this building. After that, the scene shifts, and we see Seojun lying comfortably on his sofa. His gaze is fixed on the system notification, observing how slowly but surely Fatty's trust is increasing. Fatty's trust level has reached 40, but Seojun is eager for it to hit 50 soon. Meanwhile, Seojun is lost in deep thought, wondering when he will be able to level up and finally leave his barrier to meet his family. He contemplates whether continually granting citizenship to others and leveling up will eventually allow him to reunite with them. As Seojun muses over these thoughts, a very loud voice suddenly startles him. The sound pierces through the silence, and Seojun instantly recognizes it as a zombie's groan. But alongside this familiar noise, there's another unknown sound that catches him off guard. Seojun rushes to his window and peers outside. His eyes widen as he realizes the second voice belongs to a human. Looking down, Seojun spots a group of 6 to 7 people fighting against a horde of goblins. For a moment, Seojun feels a pang of worry. Observing the struggle, he concludes that these people won't survive. The goblins will kill them all. Seojun notices that the group is too far from his building. This means he won't be able to use his summoning ability to drop dumbbells to kill the goblins. Seojun starts to panic. However, to his surprise, one of the fighters, a teenager, hurls a baseball with incredible force. The ball shoots through the air like a bullet, hitting a goblin squarely. The goblin collapses and dies instantly. But this was not the end. Another teenager, wearing a purple tracksuit and wielding a bow and arrow, steps forward. With great accuracy, she launches 2 arrows at once. Both arrows hit their targets, and the 2 goblins die immediately. Finally, a third teenager with a large build steps into view. Holding a baseball bat, he jumps high into the air. With a thunderous bang, he crushes a goblin's head with ease. This teenager, with his commanding presence, exudes main character energy. He seems to be the leader of the group. The remaining goblins, realizing the danger, begin to run for their lives. Suddenly, a sharp noise startles the girl in the purple tracksuit. She turns quickly, thinking a goblin is behind her, but to her surprise, she finds only a ramen packet lying on the ground. She picks it up, puzzled, and wonders where it came from. Just then, a weird noise catches her attention. Looking up, she notices a black shadow on top of the building. It's Seojun, trying to call her inside the building. Seeing this strange man waving at her, the girl looks confused. On the other hand, Seojun is determined, trying his best to get the group to enter his building. As Seojun watches the group, he suddenly hears a knock on his door. Turning around, he notices it's Fatty. Seojun calls Fatty to come inside, but when Fatty tries to step into the room, the system blocks him. A notification appears, stating that Fatty is not permitted to enter. This revelation surprises Seojun. It confirms that no one can enter Seojun's room, even if he allows them. Seojun begins to wonder, will a vessel be able to enter? But he sets the thought aside for now. Seojun steps outside his room to check the box. He then instructs Fatty to gather all the cheap items from his home that could act as weapons. After checking the weapons, Seojun immediately opens his ultimate shut-in store and summons 5 packets of ramen and 5 bottles of water. Within seconds, the items materialize in front of Fatty as though created by a 3D printing machine. Fatty looks astonished, his eyes wide with amazement. For the first time, he witnesses Seojun's powers in action. Seojun calmly gathers the packets and bottles, places them into a box, and hands it to Fatty. Seojun then tells Fatty to deliver the box outside the building as his next mission. Fatty's expression turns concerned. He reminds Seojun of the many goblins lurking outside. Seojun reassures him confidently, claiming that he has already killed all the goblins nearby. Fatty hesitates, but ultimately believes in Seojun's words. Seojun adds that food has become an invaluable resource in the outside world. Even a small packet of noodles is now sold for millions of won. Seojun explains his grand plan. By giving food to the awakened hunters outside, they will see him as their king and follow him without question. Seojun smirks internally, knowing he is following Lilith's slavery technique. According to this method, if Seojun provides food and water, those who receive it will inevitably become his slaves. Fatty trusts Seojun completely and agrees to deliver the box. Seojun then creates a new quest for Fatty. The quest requires Fatty to drop off the food and water outside the building. As a reward, Fatty will receive a small amount of experience points. Unbeknownst to Fatty, all the quests and rewards in the system notifications are created by Seojun himself. Fatty, however, feels thrilled at the idea of gaining XP for such a simple task. Fatty heads downstairs, carrying the box. Though nervous, he trusts Seojun completely. He holds a golf club as his weapon, gripping it tightly. Finally, Fatty steps out of the building. The fear hits him instantly. His mind is filled with one thought: drop the box quickly and run back. As Fatty bends down to place the box, he hears footsteps approaching. Fatty freezes, his body trembling. Out of the corner of his eye, he spots a black shadow standing to his left. Panic consumes him. Fatty imagines it's a bloodthirsty goblin ready to tear him apart. Heart pounding, Fatty tries to retreat toward the building, but he slips. The box of food and water crashes to the ground, scattering its contents. Fatty lies there, paralyzed with fear. His face turns red, and his breaths grow erratic. The footsteps grow louder, closing in on him, tears welling in his eyes. Fatty begs for mercy, pleading with the imagined goblins not to kill him. Summoning the courage to open his eyes, Fatty is shocked to discover that there are no goblins. Instead, standing before him is a group of teenagers and students, all staring at him in surprise. But why the hell does baseball bat guy look like Toji? After that, the scene shifts, and the system notifies Seojun that a subject who has not been permitted to enter is trying to gain access. Seeing this, Seojun immediately understands that the 6 or 7 people he saw earlier outside the building are now attempting to enter. Seojun closes his eyes and activates his ultimate all-seeing pervy eyes. Through his vision, he observes the teenagers standing in front of the building's door. Among them, a girl in a purple tracksuit turns to her friends and remarks that this is the same apartment from which a weird boy threw ramen. One of the boys, holding a baseball bat, comments that if someone is casually throwing away ramen like that, it must mean they have a lot of food. For simplicity, Seojun decides to refer to this boy as Toji. Seojun deactivates his ultimate all-seeing eyes and attempts to add them as citizens. However, the system interrupts him with a notification. Beings that meet the requirement for citizenship are approaching. Will Seojun propose citizenship to them? Hearing the word propose, Seojun pauses, confused. He realizes that a proposal means the teenagers can reject it. The thought troubles him. If they refuse, it will hinder Seojun's plans to expand his citizen population. Seojun, feeling a bit upset, knows he must devise a plan to ensure the teenagers accept his proposal. At the same time, Seojun receives a call from Fatty through the building's CCTV system. Hearing Fatty's voice, Seojun suddenly gets a brilliant idea. Seojun instructs Fatty to wait and quickly updates Fatty's quest. He assigns Fatty a new mission: feed the teenager, give them warm clothes, and let them bathe in hot water. Essentially, Fatty is to provide them with VIP treatment. Fatty immediately accepts the quest. He approaches the teenagers standing outside the barrier and informs them that if they accept Seojun's proposal, they will receive free food and water. Hearing the offer of food and water, the teenagers quickly agree. Seojun sends them the proposal, and as soon as they accept, the barrier opens, allowing them to enter the apartment. Once inside, the system notifies Seojun. Seojun's citizen count has increased by 10%. The XP and money earned by Seojun's citizens will also increase by 10%. This buff is significant. It means Seojun's citizens will now gain 10% more experience points and 10% more gold for every monster they kill. Seojun carefully observes the teenagers and reviews their profiles one by one. The highest-level teenager among them is named Han Dong. Seojun immediately recognizes him as the same boy who had thrown a baseball and killed a goblin earlier. Curious, Seojun opens Han Dong's status window and confirms his details. Han Dong's awakening ability is called Baseball Throw. It is a D-rank ability, but its potential is deadly. With this skill, Han Dong's strength increases exponentially, enabling him to throw objects with 10 times the force. Seojun realizes that this ability is incredibly dangerous. At high speeds, a baseball thrown by Han Dong would act like a cannonball. Seojun concludes that all these teenagers are metahumans. He decides to set their XP distribution rate at 70%, meaning the teenagers will keep 70% of the experience points they earn, while Seojun will receive 30%. Satisfied with this arrangement, Seojun confirms the settings and begins strategizing. He realizes that if he continues recruiting more citizens in the future, they will essentially become his auto-hunting team. While his citizens hunt and earn XP, Seojun will passively grow stronger and wealthier. This realization makes Seojun feel like he's in a real-life auto-hunting game. Seojun knows his next step is to build trust with these new citizens. Surprisingly, even without much effort, Seojun notices that their trust in him is already increasing. Seojun is confused by this sudden shift, but decides to observe further. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to Fatty, who has brought all the teenagers into his apartment. Fatty's wife, seeing the group of strangers, is understandably confused. She hesitates but listens as Fatty apologizes for the inconvenience and explains that they need food and warmth. Fatty asks his wife if she could cook hot food for the teenagers. Though worried about the situation, Fatty's wife agrees to help. She quietly begins preparing a meal for the group, deciding to trust Fatty for now. Seojun watches all of this unfold through his ultimate all-seeing eyes, pleased with how smoothly the situation is progressing. The foundation of trust is being laid, and Seojun feels confident that this is just the beginning of something much greater. After a while, Han Dong asks Fatty what kind of person Seojun is. Fatty explains that even he doesn't know much about Seojun. This surprises the entire group. Fatty elaborates that he only met Seojun recently and knows him as a neighbor. Fatty describes Seojun as a weird person, but emphasizes one thing. Seojun is kind-hearted and has a helping nature. Fatty mentions that thanks to Seojun, he now has electricity, water, and food. Hearing all this, Han Dong becomes a little worried. His gaze shifts to the jacket where the ramen packet Seojun gave them is stored. Han Dong thinks Seojun must be a very dangerous and powerful metahuman. Han Dong silently resolves to impress Seojun by any means necessary. His trust in Seojun increases significantly as he believes that someone with the power to provide electricity and food must be an extremely powerful being. Han Dong knows better than to upset someone like that. Meanwhile, Fatty asks the two girls in Han Dong's group if they want to take a shower while the food is being prepared. The moment Fatty mentions shower, the girls' eyes begin to sparkle. It had been 3 days since they last bathed, and their bodies were reeking. The mere thought of a shower excites them. Han Dong is also taken aback. He suddenly realizes that if the apartment has electricity, the shower must also be functional. Fatty confirms this and adds that there's even hot water. The girls' jaws drop open. Fatty further explains that the hot water is also a part of Seojun's abilities. At this moment, Seojun is like an electrician, a plumber, and a water provider. Our all-rounder god Joni Bro. One of the girls quips that Seojun seems like their god of all trades right now. While the group discusses this, a teenager wearing glasses approaches Han Dong and smugly asks if he thinks he is more powerful than Seojun. Han Dong admits that, based on Seojun's abilities, it seems impossible for anyone in their group to surpass him. Suddenly, Toji grabs Han Dong by the shoulder and suggests that they should team up and beat Seojun together. His twisted reasoning is that if they overpower Seojun, he'll surrender all his food to them. Hearing this, Han Dong becomes visibly irritated. He calls Toji a lunatic and tells him that instead of attacking Seojun, they should focus on improving his impression of them. Han Dong pleads with Toji and firmly asks him to not do anything foolish. The group eventually agrees that their best course of action is to impress Seojun. The scene shifts, and we are introduced to a sad, weak, and innocent boy whose name is still unknown. However, Han Dong walks over to him and introduces him as Bayugon. Han Dong apologizes to Bayugon, acknowledging that his sadness might stem from Han Dong's past actions. Han Dong explains that during his housewarming party, he invited all his friends over, including Byogon. At that very moment, the apocalypse began. Byogon's grandmother, his only remaining family member, was left behind at his house. This is why Byogon is so upset. Byogon quietly mentions that he had no choice but to attend the party, so it's not Han Dong's fault. Han Dong assures the group that after eating, they'll plan to rescue Byogon's grandmother. However, Byogon remains deeply distressed. Biting his lip, he quietly thinks to himself that his grandmother might no longer be alive. He fears the goblins have already killed her. The group collectively begins brainstorming ways to rescue Byogon's grandmother when suddenly, the door slowly opens. The atmosphere grows tense. Han Dong instinctively grabs his baseball bat, convinced a goblin has entered. But instead of a goblin, Seojun walks in, carrying 2 black bags in his hands. Seojun is wearing a plain t-shirt and shorts. The group immediately senses a powerful aura radiating from him. In that moment, Han Dong realizes that Seojun is the only one who can solve all their problems. Seojun steps inside with a dead serious face and looks at the group. Without hesitation, Seojun confidently states that he will help them. With that, the episode ends. If you want to watch part 2, quickly hit the goal of 5,000 likes and leave a comment with red applesauce. Goodbye.